In today's video, we're breaking down valuation expert Aswath Damodaran's views on Tesla and Apple. While many investors focus on earnings and financial statements, Damodaran explains why momentum can sometimes be an even stronger force in the market. Let's see what he means and what investors should learn from it.
Before we jump into the interview, remember that stock prices are driven not only by fundamentals, but also by investor behavior. Sometimes strong buying pressure can push prices much higher than many people expect.
My goodness, Tesla up another 8% today. It's been running up in the lead to the split. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think it shows you how strong a force momentum is. We talk about earnings and cash flows and fundamentals, but in markets, momentum can drive things far more strongly than any other force. And right now, the force is with them, both Apple and Tesla. The force of buying is behind them. And I mean, that's why if you sell short on these stocks, you're asking for trouble, at least in the near term.
So the stock splits then, as we've been saying, they don't change anything fundamentally, but what you're saying is that they're just adding to this momentum. How long does this last? And, we heard from our Josh Lipton, Phil LeBeau, the reporters who covered these companies, that there are catalysts in the future, the iPhone 5G, right. Battery day.
Well, remember, catalysts can cut both ways. Catalysts are never, uniformly good catalysts. So that when the new iPhone comes out, I mean, things are measured against expectations. And right now, the expectations are sky high for both companies. I mean, with Tesla, this has been a long-standing issue. For the last dozen years, the companies found a way to confound expectations. So there are catalysts coming up, and those catalysts can reverse the momentum. But, as I said, I wouldn't bet against momentum right now.
Look at various records fall, depending on how you slice it. For example, the NDX as a percentage over its 200-day is now nowhere near where we got in 2000. But market cap of all stocks versus U.S. GDP has eclipsed March of 2000. So which of those analogs are you favoring right now as you try to take the temperature?
I've never believed in this market cap to GDP measure. I know Warren Buffett likes it, but I've never understood the fixation with that measure.
Damodaran's message here is simple. Momentum can dominate markets for a long time, and investors should be careful about assuming that every popular stock is automatically in a bubble. One of the biggest lessons from Aswath Damodaran is that markets are driven by both numbers and psychology. Fundamentals matter, but expectations and momentum matter too. Successful investors understand both forces instead of relying on only one.
And so which of those analogs are you favoring right now as you try to take the temperature?
I've never believed in this market cap to GDP measure. I know Warren Buffett likes it, but I've never understood the fixation with that measure. I mean, it's nice to have something as a measure. But I do think that there are a couple of things to keep in mind. As tech companies rise, many of the traditional measures of earnings, I think, understate earnings at tech companies. Your biggest expense at tech companies is R&D, and it's capitalized right now. So as we look at historic metrics, I mean, you can never ignore history, but I think blindly taking what we've seen in the last century and applying it to this market is just going to make you sit on the sidelines forever. And I think we have to be judicious. I mean, I'm not saying stocks have not outrun the expectations in this rally, but I think we have to step back and say, hey, which of these stocks have outrun the most? Because some of them I can justify. I can look at the numbers and say there is a reason why these stocks have gone up. And there's been a fundamental shift in this during this crisis towards flexible companies, and that's what you're seeing pay off.
So, Aswath, which ones do you think have justified their run up?
Well, I think I looked at just the FANG plus Apple and Microsoft last week, and it's surprising how close those stocks are actually to their fair values. I think I found Apple to be the most overvalued, but I found Facebook to be undervalued. So I think this notion that tech companies are just running up on pure oxygen, there's nothing behind them, is I think misplaced. For the young tech companies, that might be true. For the older tech companies, these are money machines. The cash is flowing in, and there's a reason markets like them so much.
One important point Damodaran makes is that not all technology stocks are overvalued. Some companies generate enormous amounts of cash and have business models that became even stronger during times of crisis. Investors should focus on the numbers instead of assuming every rising stock is in a bubble.
So you really are you're a buyer of the notion that that technology we're in the process of technology changing the economy, changing the way in which we interact with the economy, and because of that, there is real value, even though we're seeing metrics maybe that we haven't seen in several decades. Is that a fair way to say it?
I think so. And I think there's a very simple experiment that I suggest people run. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I took my every waking hour of the day and I kept track of whose ecosystem I was in. And for 95% of my waking day, I was in the ecosystem of one of those 6 companies I just listed, Facebook, Apple. So in a sense, we're already there as people. The market's kind of catching up to what's become a reality for all of us.